Okay, box and whisker plots it is then. Box and whisker plots is what this is. It's a box with whiskers on either end. Okay. When we talk about box and whisker plot, it's a graph and it's a way to display data. Officially, it says a graph that summarizes a set of data by displaying it along a number line. It consists of 3 parts, a box and 2 whiskers. So your box here in the middle, which has 3 specific dots marking that box off, and then your whiskers. The left whisker extends from the minimum to the first quartile. It represents about 25% of the data. So as we look at these dots, this left dot is your minimum. So when we talk about the minimum, it's the lowest value. Of course, that means the right whisker is the maximum. It's the highest. The dot inside of your box is your median. And so needless to say, when we start doing these problems, we're going to have to make sure the numbers are all in order to do this because we want the minimum. I need you to be back. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
Thank you.
It's just us two, so. I just checked a few minutes ago. I'm like, who left their iPad? So I was like, oh, she'll be back.
Thank you. I was like, I don't want to bother her, but then she said.
No, you're fine.
Thank you.
I say.
Sorry, Kylie.
Okay, so we'll have our lowest and highest values. We'll find the median, which if you remember, the median is that middle number. And that median, what that does is that breaks our data into half. We've got the half below it, we've got the half above it. And then you'll also notice it says Q2 here. So quartile 2. We will also be finding quartile 1 and quartile 3. So we'll find the median, that breaks our data into half. Then, after we look at our numbers, we'll find the median of the lower half, basically, which is quartile 1, also sometimes known as the lower quartile, but that's the median of the lower half. Quartile 3, sometimes the upper quartile, and it's the middle of the upper half. So then what this is saying is that if this is half the data, then quartile 1 breaks this up into halves also. So basically, half the data. So you've got 25% of your data from the minimum to the first quartile, 25% of your data from quartile 1 to quartile 2, 25% from quartile 2 to quartile 3, and then 25% from quartile 3 to the maximum. So the quartile break your data into quarters, if that makes sense. So that's what it's talking about here. The left whisker extends from the minimum to the first quartile, 25% of the data. The box extends from the first quartile to the third quartile and has a vertical line through the median. The length of the box represents the interquartile range, and it's 50% of the data. So there's a vocabulary word I forgot about. Quartile to quartile here, interquartile range. But that's 225, so that's 50% of your data. So we had 25, there's 50. And then the right whisker extends from the third quartile to the maximum, and it's your other 25% of your data. Okay? Easiest to go to an example, I'm guessing. Okay, make a box and whisker plot that represents the data. Begin by identifying the minimum, first quartile, median, third quartile, maximum. And then we'll make our numbers for our box and whisker plot. So, first thing we need to do, minimum, maximum. Even before that, I would put the numbers in order. Yeah, least to greatest, because in order to do median and quartiles, they're going to have to be least to greatest. So let's see, what's our smallest number?
I think 30.
I think I agree.
30,
30,
32,
33,
34, 35,
2 34s, 34, 34. $35, $36, 38 and 40. Yep. Okay. We got our numbers in order from least to greatest, yes?
Yes.
Good deal. Okay. I'm going to write some information down here. You said we should start off finding our minimum and maximum. Get the easy stuff out of the way, I guess. What is our minimum? 30. And what is our maximum? 40. Okay. After we find our minimum and maximum, we want to find our median. Okay. Now, as we talk about median, I don't remember what Math Excel says, but also it is quartile 2. Or the middle quartile.
34.
She says 34. And specifically it is that specific 34, correct?
Yeah.
And it's important to know because, depends on whether that's the middle number or it's in between two middle numbers makes a difference in how we proceed with the rest. Okay. So now we need to find our quartile 1 and our quartile 3. Okay, so quartile 1 also sometimes, again, I used to always teach as lower quartile.
That's how I.
Lower quartile?
Yeah.
And and it's be interchangeable, right?
Yeah.
Know that it can be the same. So for lower quartile, in this case, because my median is the middle number, we don't use it either way. Okay, it's the middle number. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at like this set of numbers here to find our lower quartile. And what is our lower quartile? In other words, what is the median of this group?
32.5.
Right. It would be right here in between the 32 and 33. So officially, 32 plus 33 divide by 2, 32.5. Okay. And then we also need to find, I'm going to say Q3, but if you liked the word lower, you might like the word upper quartile.
Yeah, Q3 takes this time to write them.
It does. Definitely an advantage there, right? And so now, again, that 34 was the middle number. It doesn't go with either the lower or the upper group. So looking at my upper group of numbers,
37.
yeah, Q3 is going to be in between 36 and 38. And so I agree, it's going to be 37. Or in other words, 36 plus 38 divided by 2 is 37. Okay, now, with that in mind, we're ready to make our box and whisker plot. So notice it said it was along a number line. So we have to number this number line. And when we number the number line, we're numbering by ones or by numbers. In other words, my number line is not going to say 30, 32, 33, 34, 34, 30. I'm going to count. It's going to be a number line. So let's see. I need to go as low as 30. In fact, I think on this one I can just do ones. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40.
I did the same thing.
Did you end a little early?
Yeah.
I was noticing I was struggling to keep equal gaps. I don't know if it's because I'm on the bin queue or what, but okay. So basically, I'm going to put, for each of our 5 pieces of data we found, I'm going to put a dot. So I'm going to put a dot, and I'm not going to do on the number line. We're going to do it above. We usually make the box and whisker plot like above or below the number line. I'm going to put a dot at 30, a dot at 40, let's see, a dot at 34, 32.5, and 37. Okay, so your quartiles, your inner three dots, I'm going to put vertical lines through them so that I can use them to connect them and make a box. And then from my lower quartile out to the minimum, and upper quartile out to the maximum are my whiskers. Okay. And so what we can notice here is, like, if our median's right here, 50% of our data is below 34. 50% of our data is above 34. From 32.5 to 37, that's the middle 50% of our data. Things like that. Okay. I don't remember what questions they ask on Math Excel. I really don't. So, okay. Let's go try the next one. Yeah, I'm not sure actually that there's a whole lot we can skip on these notes, but yeah. Just because I would say, oh, you've seen one, you're done, good, but things are a little bit different on this one, so.
Oh no, we have to do all the notes.
Yeah, still. If there's more people in here, I'd probably be going into more detail, so. Okay, make a box and whisker plot. Yeah. Okay, what's first?
Yeah. Order them least to greatest.
Yep.
Smallest is, I think, 12.
That's what I see.
I think the largest is 40.
I hadn't gotten that far. I do kind of agree, though.
Oh.
Did you skip a number?
No, I just like. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. Oh, excuse me. 12, 13, 15, 19, 20, 26, 27, 33, 35, and 40 is my list. Okay. First.
Oh. 12.
Oh, I forgot about. I totally was going to skip over the min and max, but yep, I agree. My minimum is 12. And while we're there, the max is 40. So those two will be our whiskers. What else?
Median. All the quartiles.
Okay, so in order to find our median, do the thing, huh? So, yep.
20 and 26, so 23.
Okay, yep. There's 12 and 40, 13 and 35, 15 and 33, 19 and 27. So my median is between 20 and 26, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and it is a 23. Okay.
And the quartiles, 23.
Now, when we do the quartiles this time,
Include the one right side.
right, because 23 was not a number in the list, then when we're going through this, we're using 12 all the way up to 20. Okay? So from 12 to 20, my median is 15. On the other side, my median is 33. Okay, so I guess I never really wrote these all down here.
We have 12 to 40.
Median was 23. Q1 was 15. Q3, whoops, is 33. And we're numbering from 12 to 40. I'm debating. I don't know if I'd number all the way by ones or not.
We could probably go back to this.
Yeah. I'd be tempted to go by twos. I think I could get it all in.
Yeah.
So if I do that, 12, let's see, 14. Yeah. 22. Not for the way you were doing it?
I know there was. I wrote them so tiny.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, and I'm actually going to have more room than what I need too. Oh, who knows? Maybe we could have done every number along the way. Okay. Put your 5 dots, right? Got dots at 12 and 40 for min and max. 23 for my median. Q1 is 15. Q3 is 33. Vertical lines for those middle 3. So you can connect them into a box. Very curvy box on my behalf, but okay. So really short whisker over here. I'm looking at, more numbers bunched up on the left side of the number line. I don't, whereas over on the right, they're more spread out. Okay. Okay. Real quick, let's talk about percentiles then. We're talking about our quartiles to break everything into like quarters, so 25% increments. When we talk about percentiles, it separates data sets into 100 equal parts. Okay, so very much like percents. Percentile rank is the percentage of data that are less than or equal to the data value in question. So like, I know I was looking at the homework this morning to remember what was on it. And there was a question like, okay, what is 40% of the data? So like, where does that fall? Okay, so being able to figure out, it's a lot like percents, okay? But percentile, percentage of data that are less than or equal to that data value. Let's just look at example 1. Easier. It's hard to explain. Like,
Yeah.
easier to just do it. Of 25 test scores, 8 are less than or equal to 75. What is the percentile rank of a test score of 75? Okay, so we're asking us for percentile rank. A test score of 75. Well, what do we know?
8 of them are less than or equal to 75.
And 8 out of how many?
25.
So we're basically looking at
8.
8 out of 25.
And X.
You can do it that way, yep.
Yeah.
I was waiting to see which way you went, so. So, and I don't know, do you do cross products at that point, or do you just, how do you get from 25 to 100?
I don't remember. I think I just.
There's so many different ways you can do this problem. That's why
I think I just did like a, multiply 25 by 4. And so
Right.
8 by 4.
and that works, because it's a nice, easy one. 8 times 4 then, and so we end up with 32%.
Yeah.
Other options to do it, if it wasn't nice, neat, like 25 times 4,
Okay.
we could have done cross products. 25 times x equals 8 times 100.
Yeah. Okay.
And so 25x equals 800, divide by 25, and you'd be at 32.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. One other option you could have done, since it was 8 over 25, you could have gone to a decimal. And as a decimal, it's 0.32. And then 0.32 can become 32%.
Yeah. I remember this one from last year.
Okay.
It's the only one so far that I remember.
Let's see. What does she have written in here? The percentile rank of a score of 75 is 32%. This means 32% of the class scored a 75 or less. So percentile rank, if the percentile rank is 32%, 8 of those scores were less than or equal to 75. So 32% of the scores are less than or equal to 75. Okay. One more. Of 200 golf scores during a city tournament, 32 are less than or equal to 90. What is the percentile rank of a score of 90?
Okay. 32 over 200 equals x over 100. Right?
Yeah, you can do that. If you don't want to do that, then just do 32 divided by 200 and turn it into a decimal. You could look here, 200 divided by 2 gets to 100, or if you're doing your cross products, which it looks like I saw you just circle. 200x equals
32 32.
So if 200x equals 3200,
Divide by 200,
divide by 200,
which is
60.
60%.
So 16% of the scores are below 90, or less than or equal to 90.
Man, that's the chapter.
Well, that's what we're doing of the chapter. I planned to do one more lesson today, but since you weren't here on Friday to do 12.4, I thought, well, now I don't have to decide what lesson I want to do next. So we're just calling it quits there.
Good. Okay.
I mean, there's actually a decent amount more chapter, but we just don't really have time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we need to, I'm going to do a small quiz over this chapter 12 stuff, and then we need to do final exam review. So